The crayon drawing lay in shreds across the marble floor. Bright pinks and yellows torn with such violence, it almost hurt the eye to look at. Next to it, his daughter stood frozen, lips trembling, eyes wide with confusion. She hadn't cried yet, not because it didn't hurt, but because her young heart hadn't registered that her joy had been destroyed. And when she looked up, not at the woman who tore it, but at her father, her eyes silently pleaded. Why would someone do this? Nicholas Hayes, a man whose name was stamped on skyscrapers and gold-embossed invitations, felt something inside him crumble. Not because of a drawing, but because the woman he was about to marry had just broken something far more fragile. His daughter's trust. And in that moment, he realized he had mistaken elegance for empathy, beauty for warmth, charm for kindness. And he had been so very wrong. Nicholas had built his empire on logic and numbers, and yet, it was emotion that now unraveled him. 2 years earlier, he had buried the love of his life, his wife, Laura. The cancer came quickly and stole even quicker. In the wake of her passing, Nicholas was left not only grieving a partner, but navigating single fatherhood to a 5-year-old who now cried herself to sleep asking, "When will mommy come home from the stars?" He had promised Laura on her last day that he would never let their daughter, Lily, feel unloved, never feel unseen. And for a while, he did his best. He hired the most caring nanny he could find. May, a gentle woman in her 50s with a laugh like cinnamon and arms that knew how to hold sadness until it softened. Then came Madeline. Beautiful, cultured, ambitious. He met her at a charity gala. She laughed at his dry humor and looked stunning on his arm. His friends said, "She's perfect." And maybe part of him wanted to believe it too, that after pain, love could look like this. Neat, impressive, easy. But Madeline didn't like mess. She didn't like how Lily interrupted dinner with her questions about dinosaurs. She didn't understand why the nanny was invited to birthdays. She said children should be taught their place. Nicholas ignored the red flags, telling himself she just needed time. That love would teach her softness, that maybe he was the problem, not asking enough, not being present enough. Until that morning, Lily had drawn a picture, stick figures under a lopsided sun. "This is me and Daddy, in May at the beach," she had said, holding it out with pride. Madeline took one look, snatched it, and in a cold, dismissive gesture, tore it in two. "Don't bother people with scribbles. May's just staff," she snapped. When Nicholas walked in, he didn't need to raise his voice. He simply stared at the pieces of his daughter's joy, then at the woman he thought he'd marry, and quietly said, "The wedding's off." Madeline tried to plead, argue, twist it all. But his eyes were hollow, not angry, just emptied. Because in that moment, he didn't see a future. He saw a mistake narrowly avoided. The weeks after were quiet. Not the lonely kind, but the still, necessary kind. Like the air after a storm. Like breath returning after drowning. Nicholas withdrew from society events. He spent weekends with Lily building blanket forts and reading books Laura used to love. He started showing up at school events, messy, underdressed, and undeniably more present. One evening, Lily asked, "Why did Madeline tear my drawing?" He knelt down and said honestly, "Because some people don't see how precious hearts can be. But that's not your fault, and you should never stop drawing." She hugged him like her little arms could hold his entire heartbreak. And for a moment, he believed maybe they could. May, always quiet, said one evening while sipping tea, "You've been grieving, Nicholas, not just Laura, but the version of love you thought you had to replace." It hit him like sunlight through fog. He wasn't broken because of Madeline. He had been walking around cracked for years, try to fill the silence of loss with noise, with perfection, with appearances. But healing doesn't arrive dressed in diamonds or accolades. It comes in the form of a crayon drawing, a nanny's laugh, a little girl's hug, and the courage to walk away from anything that doesn't make your soul feel safe. 2 years later, Nicholas sat at a local art fair. Not a gala, not a fundraiser, just Lily's school's weekend project showcase. She had a booth titled Hearts That Heal. Her art was simple, childlike, colorful, honest. One of the drawings was of her, her dad, and May at the beach. Just like before. Only this time, it was framed, and beneath it, in Lily's handwriting, "Love is who stays when you're sad." Nicholas didn't cry. He smiled. A real, full, peaceful smile. Because he wasn't just a millionaire. He was a man who finally understood that love wasn't about what looked right. It was about what felt right. Speech balloon moral of the story. True love is not measured by beauty, wealth, or grand gestures. It is revealed in how someone treats the smallest, most vulnerable parts of your world. If someone can't love what you love, they can never truly love you. Healing begins when we stop chasing appearances and start choosing people who are kind to our soul.